My name is Kristóf Fenyvesi. I'm a 40 years old Hungarian, just like the Rubik's Cube. I work in the Finnish Institute for Educational Research, and I'm the founder of Experience Workshop STEAM Network. STEAM means the integration between science, technology, engineering, arts and mathematics in education. I created this video together with my friends worldwide to celebrate Erne Rubik's invention, the Rubik's Cube. I've always had a cube. I grew up with it, though I never really became a master of it. I remember that one of the first reasons I admired my father was that he could solve the cube within a relatively short time. When my children grow 2-3 years old, they also got a cube. This 2x2x2 and this classic 3x3x3, of course, well, they cannot really solve them, but they love them as objects, like I do since I was in their age. However, the cube is no longer merely a children's toy. It's as much a cultural and sociological phenomenon as a puzzle. It's a universal symbol of creativity, problem solving, design, and many more. I feel fortunate that I met Erne Rubik for a couple of times. I remember from his talks, or private conversations, or by reading his latest book, that he's as much puzzled about this phenomenon like the rest of us. But what we are the most puzzled about? To highlight various perspectives about our many-sided cube, I invited a musician, a biologist, puzzle designers, a tessellation artist, a speed solver, a poet, a digital literature expert, and quite a few mathematicians, of course, to tell their story about the cube. The Rubik's Cube has 6 sides like any other cubes. Let's see where we can get in 6 turns. Let's celebrate Erne Rubik's invention, the cube, in 6 single moves. András Kaszanyicki, a world-renowned cellist and puzzle enthusiast friend of mine from Hungary, has always some mind-blowing ideas. This time he needed 2 mathematicians, László Major and István Földes, to find a solution to the problem what he invented about merging Rubik's Cube with Sudoku. Katja Puutio, a Finnish biologist and science engager, will explain this whole thing to us.
When solving a classic Rubik's Cube, our goal is to return the scrambled cube to its initial color scheme, with each of the 6 square faces being a single color. There is another well-known game, the so-called Sudoku, where the goal is just the opposite. That is, each of the numbers should occur once in each row and also once in each column of a square. Susi wa doku sinni kagiru. That is, the digits are limited to 1 occurrence. A combination of these 2 classical games was proposed by the Hungarian cellist András Kaszanyicki, creating a new logic game. For the past 45 years, millions of players have been striving to solve Rubik's Cube in the usual classical sense. We challenge you to do the opposite. Scramble the colors as much as possible. The goal is to get a perfect mess. Our game implements the Sudoku layout on the 6 faces of the 5x5 Rubik's Cube, meaning that each color should occur exactly once in each row and once in each column. This cannot be achieved with the classic Rubik's Cube, so we will have to replace some stickers on the surface of the cube. This game, unlike the classic Rubik's Cube, has only 5 colors. By rotating the layers of the cube, the stickers of 5 different colors should be arranged on the faces so that we get the full diversity of a Sudoku square. In other words, all 5 colors should appear in each row and in each column of every face. The 5 different colors can be put in a sequence in 120 different ways. We have 5 choices for the first color. Once we have chosen that, there are 4 colors left, so we have 4 choices for the second position. Now that we have used the first 2 colors, there are 3 remaining colors, and so we have 3 choices for the third position. Finally, there are 2 choices for the fourth position, and only 1 choice for the last. So we had a total of 5 times, 4 times, 3 times, 2 times 1, resulting in 120 choices, and hence there are 120 possible arrangements of the 5 colors. Each face of a 5x5 cube has 5 rows, 5 reverse rows, 5 columns, and 5 reversed columns. So a total of 20 color sequences appear on one face. Thus the 6 faces of the cube display a total of 6 times 20, altogether 120 lines. This number is exactly the same as the number of possible ways of putting the 5 colors in a sequence. This interesting coincidence inspired Kasianitsky to create a cube on which all 120 color sequences occur exactly once. It is by no means self-evident that such an arrangement of colored stickers is possible at all. Kasianitsky sought the help of 2 mathematicians, Stefan Foldes and Laszlo Major, who then found such arrangement using some abstract algebra. One possible arrangement is shown in this image. And this is the corresponding cube. This is one solution of the new game. There are many others. Now we scramble the cube, and then we challenge you to get a cube to a state where the 6 faces of the cube are all Sudoku-like squares. That is, each line contains exactly 5 different colors. In addition, all 120 lines of the cube should be different. In other words, the same color line should not occur twice on the surface of the cube. Logic games can be a huge opportunity in education because they make abstract thinking more concrete and more available for everyone. In addition, they develop concentration and manual skills. But most of all, they are just really fun.
My friend from Japan, Yoshiaki Araki, has dedicated his life to mosaics, or as mathematicians refer to them, tessellations. Together with the famous puzzle designer, Makoto Nakamura, they founded the Japanese Tessellation Design Association. Their tessellation designs are not limited to flat planes, but extended to everyday objects like tableware, clothes, t-shirts, chocolate, or even cookies. To celebrate Rubik's Cube's anniversary, Mr. Araki designed a specially tessellated cube covered with lizards. Check it out.
皆さん、こんにちは。テセレーション協会の荒木義明です。今日はルービックキューブ40周年を記念して、ちょっと変わった柄のルービックキューブをご紹介します。私の専門は敷き詰め模様の数学です。同じ形をした図形がいくつもあることを想像してください。これらの図形を隙間も重なりもなく並べたいのですが、どのようにすればいいでしょう。 例えば、これらの赤い長方形では、次のような異なる並べ方があります。そんなことを絵を描いたり、計算をしたりして探求をしています。図形を並べる場所は平らな面が多いのですが、今回は特別にルービックキューブの上に敷き詰めてみたいと思います。では、今日敷き詰める図形は、このトカゲくんです。トカゲくんを平面に敷き詰めると、このようになります。ぎっしり詰まりすぎてて、よく見えないという人のために補助線を引いてみましょう。このように黄色い正方形の格子が現れます。一つの正方形の上にトカゲが1匹ずつ乗っかっていることがわかるでしょう。さて、次はルービックキューブの上に模様を描いていきます。ルービックキューブには小さな正方形がたくさん並んでいますが、その一個一個の上にトカゲくんを乗せることができるでしょうか。おや、ルービックキューブに興味を持ったトカゲくんたちが続々と集まってきて、ルービックキューブの上によじ登ってきていますね。どんどん集まって、ちょっと密な状態になってきました。この先、どこまで集まるでしょう。少し様子を見てみましょう。さて、どうでしょう。トカゲくんたちがちゃんと並んでいるようですね。裏も見てみましょう。一面に9匹、それから6面で全部で54匹ですかね。トカゲくんたちが隙間も重なりもなく並んでいるように見えます。では、このルービックキューブ、シャッフルするとどうなるでしょう。回るルービックキューブを見て、トカゲくんたちは何かに気づいてざわつき始めたみたいですね。どうでしょう。トカゲくんの尻尾や頭が切れ始めましたね。でも一旦切れた尻尾や頭は元通りになっているようにも見えます。トカゲは尻尾が一旦切れてもまた生えると言いますからね。あれ？このトカゲくん、何かちょっと違いませんか？他のトカゲは頭が下を向いているのに、このトカゲは上を向いていませんかね？よく見ると、このように上を向いたトカゲくんは他にも何匹かいるようです。この水色の丸に囲まれたトカゲは上を向いたトカゲですね。さらに、足が8本あるトカゲも現れました。このピンクの丸に囲われた部分です。もっと観察してみると、トカゲくんが正面を向いて、2つの目でこちらを見ているようなものも見つけられます。この緑の囲まれた部分ですね。それから、水色や紫の円を見てみると、いろんな形の足跡も出てきます。これらの形は、ルービックキューブを回す前にはなかった形ですね。ということで、今日はルービックキューブにトカゲくんの敷き詰め模様を描いてみました。はじめは、回すと模様が崩れてしまうか心配でしたが、逆に回すことで面白い新しい形に出会うことができました。皆さんもルービックキューブの上に回しても楽しい絵を描いてみてくださいね。このように絵を描く秘訣は敷き詰め模様にあります。敷き詰め模様に興味を持っていただいた方は、ぜひテセレーション協会のホームページにもアクセスしてみてくださいね。今日はテセレーション協会の荒木義明がキューブに描く敷き詰め模様と題してお話をさせていただきました。それではまたどこかでお会いしましょう。
My Dutch friend, Oscar van Deventer, is one of the most prolific designers of mechanical puzzles in the world. He designed and prototypes several hundreds of mechanical puzzles. I asked Oscar to open his cabinet of magic cubes and reveal his most exciting pieces exclusively to you.
Hi, I'm Oscar van Deventer and I'm a puzzle designer. What you see around me are the mechanical puzzles that I have designed for the last more than 40 years. I started my hobby of designing mechanical puzzles already in 1978, but it was in 1981 that I was introduced to the Rubik's Cube, and of course the person that I am, I love mechanical puzzles. I started solving them, and it's only many years later that I started also designing twisty puzzles of the type of the Rubik's Cube, and that was thanks to the advent of the 3D printer. So what you're seeing here are some of the puzzles that I've created that are based on the Rubik's Cube and that have been 3D printed. So let me start with this one. This is a relatively new one. Usually you can solve a Rubik's Cube only in the light when you can see the color of the stickers. Well, these stickers have all the same white color. However, there is glow-in-the-dark material, so when you go to a very dark place or in the middle of the night, only then you can solve this. So I designed a Rubik's Cube that can be only solved when it's dark. I also designed a Rubik's Cube that is hollow. So you can look through the Rubik's Cube. It's completely hollow, but still it functions like a Rubik's Cube. And this one has been mass-produced. Using the concept of a hollow cube, I also designed the treasure chest, which is a Rubik's Cube that once it's solved, you can open it and you can remove your treasure, and of course you can close it and you can scramble it, and once it's scrambled, everything is safe inside. I've been adding gears to Rubik's Cubes. So here we see a gear cube that where the gears add an extra difficulty to the design. Also, this one has been mass-produced. I've been having more fun with gears. So these are two Rubik's Cubes that are connected. And when you turn one face, another face follows. So, or these two faces. So everything is connected at the inside. Other than Rubik's Cubes, I've been experimenting with a lot of strange shapes. This is also a very recent development. This is a rocket, and you see the rocket is now pointing to the right, but when I turn nozzles, I turn this nozzle here and this nozzle here, then suddenly the rocket is pointing to the left. So this is a very interesting thing, because this is the first geometry of which we can confirm that it has no fixed orientation in space, contrary to the regular Rubik's Cube. So I've met Erno Rubik in person in 2009 at a special puzzle event. You just saw the photo of that, and it's really an honor to congratulate Erno Rubik with the anniversary of the Rubik's Cube. So happy anniversary, and to all of you, thank you for watching.
Kate Jones was born in Hungary and immigrated to the US as a child. She is an internationally known puzzle designer and expert. She knows a lot about the Rubik's Cube, but also about its predecessors. Let's take a look at those games which inspired the young Erne Rubik, even before the cube existed.
Happy 40th, Rubik's Cube, from Kate Jones, from 1980 to 2020. Hello, Puzzle World. Welcome to Puzzles and Colors. First, a little history. In 1923, Percy McMahon invented 3-color squares. They are still popular. 24 all different squares with edge colors to match each neighbor. Inspired many variations with loving labor. And as the years passed, many more, while twisty puzzles grew by the score. Cubes with colors showed their faces, teasing puzzlers in 12 million places. Arrange 4 cubes, all in a row, so all 4 sides, 4 colors show. That's from 1965, Frank Armbruster's Instant Insanity puzzle. What more can Instant Insanity do? Show solid colors. Top and sides. Can you? The hidden bottom, if you look, can have 4 colors. Much work that took. For extra fun, where 2 cubes touch, they can match. Thank you very much. Do these foreshadow Rubik's story with ever fancier cubes for glory? Here are some other cubes we make, whose sides 3 colors in different mixes take. These are from 1991. They're called Throw a Fit. Model all 10 with 8 of the others as they help to build their bigger brothers. Now let's look at Rubik's art, those cubes that thrill the mind and heart. Endlessly varied designs to admire. Creating these is what puzzlers desire. Like a museum of classical masterpieces, the delight in their artistry never ceases. Here are Rubik's cubes in ascending sizes, from 2 to 12, while 1 to 17 rises. Do you have the time? Do you have the skill? These grand adventures will give you a thrill. Another Hungarian, in those self-same years, studied another puzzle, the planet Cheers. Through a feat of fate, along came Kate and started a business because she could, founded on 12 pieces of wood. Polyominoes are everywhere. Just take a look around. On floors and walls, on websites as pixels they are found. From the singularity to infinity, particles join in fanciful arrays, like elements in galaxies where energy with space-time plays. And now, let's look at a dazzling feat. Carl Wilkes' solution of 1,818 pieces forms rings in combinatorial evolution. 12 wooden blocks of 5 cubes each. Quintillion sets have much to teach. With just 5 quints, the 3x3 arrays can have 2 holes in 19 different ways. There's another one. This is a cute one here. They can have it in 19 different ways. That's just one short of Rubik's slate of 20 ways the cubies can relate. These 10 plus 9 are yours to mind. Hint, adjacent centers you won't find. The hexacube is a 10 by 10 by 10 big boy. 166 blocks of 6 cubes each are more than just a toy. And everywhere in the world are these humans on their planet Blue. They have minds that play with puzzles, math, art, and the magic they can do. So thank you, universe, for what you started. And thank you, Erne, for what you imparted. And thank you, world, for what you hearted. As we say goodbye, here's a nice embrace. The 12 quints build for the cube, a parking place.
The cube creates several opportunities even for giants to meet. Osmo Pekkonen, mathematician, historian, and veteran of several mathematics Olympiads, met with Olli Wikstedt, who is a prominent speed solver who represented Finland at several international Rubik's Cube championships. We are really fortunate to hear and see what they are talking about when they meet for the first time.
Hello everybody, I am Osmo Pekkonen, a Finnish science journalist. I work for this magazine called The Mathematical Intelligence, which specializes in art, design and mathematics. We are also celebrating Rubik's Cube. Now let me introduce to a champion from Finland of Rubik's Cube, Mr. Olli Wikstedt. Hello Olli from Tampere University of Technology. You are one of the champions of cube solving in Finland. You are 20 years old now. For how long have you been doing this?
My first competition was in 2014, so like almost 7 years now.
So you are an internationally known figure in the Rubik Cubes community. How many times have you been in a competition abroad?
I've been maybe 5 times, like European Championships and once in a World Championships, which was in France.
Could you tell me about something about the mental processes when you solve this in a few seconds? How is it possible?
Well, it all comes down to remembering algorithms, and when you solve the cube, you just look at the cube and think about what is the right algorithm to use in this situation. And usually it's like only 7 algorithms when you solve the cube, but those are like specific algorithms for those situations. So it's, in the end, it's only like remembering and your hands doing what they should without really knowing what to do with.
Could you illustrate me something?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like first step when we start solving the cube, I always solve the cross first. So cross, yeah. So in this case, it would be like that easy, only like 5 to 6 moves. And then after that, I would start filling these gaps in between these cross edges. So once again, those are really short algorithms, but every one of them fills one of these holes in between here. Once again. And last one. So now we have done 5 algorithms. And we have these 2 layers solved and only 1 layer left. Once again, we look at this and think, what is the right algorithm? And now only, that was the orientation of the last layer. And now we just have to permute these pieces. And after that, it is solved. So that was 7 algorithms.
Amazing. But how do you memorize when you have a quick look at a cube that has been scrambled by someone else? How can you remember so quickly the structure, the initial position?
Well, when you practice enough, then your hands know what to do very fast. At the beginning, of course, it's much slower, but when you have done this like 1,000 times, then it's much easier.
Okay, and your personal record time, can you tell me that?
My personal record time is 8.73 seconds.
Okay, what does that mean? So, a scrambled cube, and do they count the time when you just look at it?
No. Before the solve, you can look at the cube for 15 seconds.
15 seconds.
After that, you start the timer.
Okay, that's how it goes. And blindfolded as well.
Yeah.
Same, but okay. You first have 15 seconds to look at it, and then they blindfold you. You have to remember.
No, but in the blindfold solving, the time is like the inspection time and the solving time. So that's the difference between those.
Yes. Is it much harder to work with the 4x4 cube?
It is, because like when you solve this
you have
cube,
a
4 by 4 by 4, yeah, I have it here.
Please show me. Okay.
Yeah. But when you solve this cube, you actually like make it in the 3 by 3, like making all these pieces together, and then in the end you solve it like a normal 3 by 3.
You are a young guy now, but you were very young when you started, when you got hooked, or should we say cubed. You were 13 or 14 or something like that. Where did you find your first cube and your first cubic friends?
Well, I remember when my dad bought me a cube, and then there was like a how to do it, like paper inside the cube, and then I just remember like solving those cubes with that instruction. And then when I went to competition, I was like really keen on this cube, and then when I went there, it was like really fun when all those people had the same issue of this cube.
Your dad bought it for you. Can he solve it himself?
Yes, he can. He learned how to solve it like in the 80s when he was young as well.
Oh, so he must be of my age. So,
Yeah,
well, what did your math teacher say about this?
Well, they are all like amazed when I solve this.
Is this hobby contagious? I mean, your friends, are they also all hooked with the cube?
Not all, but I have teach like 10 of my friends how to solve this cube. And I have like showed them that it's not that hard, because in the first place they think that I can't do it, it's too hard. But then I'm just, hey, let's learn it now. And 2 hours later, they can do it.
Okay, maybe even I might have a chance.
Yes, you would.
With a tutor like you.
Yeah.
In this collection of videos, you have already heard a poem about the Rubik's Cube. But what if you would start to think about to inscribe poetry on the surface of a Rubik's Cube? And what if you would scramble your poetic cube? And what if your poetic cube not only includes texts, but also images, music, and sound effects? Jason Nazon, Australian-American digital artist, created something precisely like this. Nazon's poetic cube will be brought into your attention by Giovanna Di Rosario, the Italian digital poetry expert from Spain.
First, Love from Flying by Jason Nelson is an interactive digital poem based on the Rubik's Cube. Jason Nelson is an American digital artist, digital poet living in Australia. In Birds Still Warm from Flying, the reader is invited to manipulate the space and the text, to play with the cube, in the same way as once she played with the Rubik's Cube. This poem is opening a game, but what is important in this poem is not to win, is not to solve the cube. What is important here is that in this text is the process of the text itself, is the recombinatory process. Birds Still Warm from Flying is made of text and phrases, but also of images and sounds. Music is repetitive and reminds one of music and video games. And images are videos, and they are breaking the monotony of language, introducing new pieces, new element in the recombinatory process. But let the author introduce his own text.
Birds Still Warm from Flying. This is a interactive digital poem that is based on the Rubik's Cube. I've always seen the Rubik's Cube as both a puzzle, a game, but also a recombinatory artwork poetic engine. One of the things I love about this interface and rethinking the Rubik's Cube for an artistic and digital poetry purpose is the way it continuously creates this sort of new designs, new intersections of art and poetry as you turn it. And so you can see that, you know, this online version is completely functional, functions the same way, but the individual squares contain poetic text. And that text shifts and changes as you move and try to rethink the cube. And one of the elements that I particularly like is the fact that this is not, I mean, yeah, you can solve it in a way, but it's not designed to be something that's solved, and it's more designed to be something that's experienced and explored. So it's really taking what was a wondrous invention, the Rubik's Cube, and really trying to reimagine it in entirely new ways. I'll read you a couple little sections from it as I generate it. It will be easier to break in, to slouch beneath boards, dangers for doctors or insurance, a heartless discussion, snow as snows arise between fights and flights, soft projects narrowed by bravery, switches for two states. And if I turn it, I get an entirely new poem. Vehicles dropped in the winter when creeks still froze, and the roof are boxes of books and plastic fasteners, keynote address, and charged a single bulb, papers, forms, manuals. And if I switch it, it starts to change again. And you can see these things are actually numbered. I did that intentionally to create some semblance of logic, some semblance that there is an order, although frankly that's not a particularly important facet to me in this work. It is much more exploratory and is much more about creating these intricate, kind of beautiful, baffling designs. So thank you for exploring Birds Still Warm from Flying, a poetic, artistic rethinking of the Rubik's Cube. Truly a fascinating and wondrous interface for creating recombinatory art and digital poetry. I'm Jason Nelson, and I loved making this. Cheers.
Birds Still Warm from Flying is a collage. It's a poem that you can cut up and rebuild that can be taken into pieces and reassembled, recombined over and over again, potentially infinitely. The poem that emerged escapes its own author. I hope you enjoy this piece of digital poetry based on the Rubik's Cube, and I hope you will read it and play with it. Thanks.
Rubik's Cube is inspiring us since more than 40 years. It is our challenge, or relaxation, meditation, or everyday struggle and joy all around the world. We can't turn back time, but we can turn back and forth the cube like this. And many generations will continue to do so on many other ways. Thanks to Rubik for this mind-blowing adventure. But hey, I think it is your turn now. Congratulations, Rubik. Happy anniversary, Rubik's Cube.
When I was only 5, I thought the world turned around the playground. In my little mind, I didn't know that things happen under the ground. When the children played with their toys, I tried to make sound from the noise. The others said, you never play with us, you're sure. Only 5, I thought the world turned around the playground. In my little mind, I didn't know that things happen under the ground. When the children play with their toys, I tried to make sound from the noise. The others said, you never play with us, you're shortly down. One day my mother said,